A mortgage shouldn't be a life sentence. Do you have a mortgage acceleration plan? If not, you've got a life sentence.
Moving forward with the Dekker team. Moving forward together with the Dekker team.
We are delighted that for over 35 years, we've been able to come alongside you, not only selling, buying, and investing in real estate 3,117 times. We've been able to come alongside you to build your fund, build your fitness, build your finances, and even strengthen, heal, and flourish inside relationship.
Yeah, you know, danger, danger, Will Robinson, right?
Again?
It's the shininess, the excitement of a 30-year mortgage, right? For people that are first-time home buyers, people buying a new property, there are 30-year mortgages
or an
available.
investment property.
Or an investment property. Now, 30 years gets your payment down, which is good initially, right? Can be good. And that's what we want to talk about is the pitfalls that can happen, and also an acceleration plan on how to later make sure it's not a 30-year amortization.
Right, because if we think about the bigger picture, that the average first-time buyer is the better part of 40 years old now.
Mm-hmm.
If we keep a 30-year amortization, it may make sense to get it on the onset, like to get into the market.
Mm-hmm.
Better to get in than stay out. And if a 30-year amortization is the tool that gets you there, I think congratulations.
Yeah, it's kind of like the 5%.
Right.
That getting in earlier, like our whole goal is that you're not 38 or 40 or
Right.
45 when you buy your first house. We'd like to get people back into buying homes in their 20s because time does the heavy lifting.
Right. And back to the thought I wanted to finish, the math. The math freaked me out when we did this before we got on air. And that was if you are 38, 39, 40, and you're buying your first home, because
Mm-hmm.
maybe the person listening right now is that age and they're saying, yeah, I never thought I could buy a home, so I'd rather buy it now than never buy it.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
if we do a 30-year amortization, that means you're 70 and still paying a mortgage. So an acceleration plan is a necessity,
For sure.
is what we're wanting to drive home. And that's whether you're taking a 25-year mortgage, even a 20-year mortgage, because you have different goals likely if you are taking a shorter amortization to start with. And
Yeah.
still, how do we get it paid down quicker, sooner, faster so that we can either use our equity
Mm-hmm.
or we can be in our retirement years not having a mortgage payment?
Right. Exactly. So, you know, the 30-year amortization makes the monthly payment less and it makes it attractive. But there's be cautions here. The cautions are, is that going to cause you to stretch to a bigger home that has more taxes, more insurance, more everything?
More utilities.
And is going to like stretch you beyond where you need to be stretched? Or is it going to make it so that you can get into the market?
Right. If you're
That's
stretched,
a good reason.
right. But if you're stretched beyond where you should be stretched,
That's not
you're
good.
stressed.
Mm-hmm.
Like things are not going to go well for you.
Yeah, it leaves no room for saving. It leaves no room for margin or change or peace of mind, right? So it can lower your payment. It's going to cost you more in the long run because you're going to pay more interest because they stretched you over 30 years instead of 25.
Unless you accelerate.
Right.
Then it's not going to cost you more.
So there's some simple ways to accelerate.
Right.
And our premise is that when you buy your house and you take a 30-year mortgage, in 5 years from now, you may be making more money, right?
Right.
And you may be able to, instead of like what we did was, instead of just renewing with another 25, because we've used up 5, right? So renewing 25. What we did was we shrunk it. So we started with a 25, and at 20 years, we said, oh, we can increase the payment and shorten the amortization to 15 because
Right.
we're making more money. So that's one option for accelerating your mortgage.
Right.
Second one.
Another one is to be able to just make the extra couple of payments a year.
Yeah, so you can make a bulk payment.
Right.
And they'll let you, most mortgages, either 10, 15, 20% of the original amount of the mortgage. You can pay in one lump sum with no penalties, no prepayment penalties. The other thing a lot of mortgages will allow you to do, and they allow both the one-time payment and double up payments.
Right.
So you could send a message to your bank. Let's say you're doing really well and you're getting extra money every month. You go, you know what? Instead of making one payment on my mortgage, I'm going to double it. And I'm just going to have them take out 2 payments every month so that it goes down a lot faster. Now, you can turn that off at any time. So if your cash flow changes, you have a child and now you got more expenses or whatever the case may be, or one person goes on maternity leave, you just turn that off and you put it back to one payment. You got your lower payment because it's a 30-year am.
Which is great.
Mm-hmm.
So you have more the bottom line is you have more flexibility with 30-year amortization.
Absolutely.
And as long as you're not delinquent, like reckless with the flexibility. If there's a plan for the flexibility, it's such a smart way because it gets a lot of people in.
Right.
There's one more way that they can accelerate.
Absolutely. And that's the every 2-week payment. And it's not that you pay halfway through the month and then, you know, that's a bi-monthly. That's twice a month you make a payment, the 1st and the 15th. It kind of chunks it down so it's easier payment.
That doesn't accelerate.
That does not accelerate. But what does accelerate is if you go every 2 weeks, because what happens is you make an extra payment. Or is it 2?
It's 2 a year.
It's 2 extra payments.
A year.
So it's like paying 1 extra month during the year. So it will shrink your amortization period automatically. And basically, it's great for people that get paid every 2 weeks.
Exactly.
Because you set it up that it comes out a day or two after your normal payday. And you're going to have those nice, equal, easy to budget for, right?
Right.
So that's a great way to take your 30-year, but amortize down to a shorter period.
As the time goes on, right? And if you're thinking, okay, I need some more clarity, clarity call is always the thing we're going to suggest you do. So go to dekkerteam.com and let's have a dialogue about getting you into the market if you're not into the market. And what's the best structure just to set you up to win, not set you up to fail. Because we don't want to stay with the long amortization. We want to shrink it.
Yeah, and it's one of those things they do in cars and mortgages. They get you on payment.
Right.
And payment thinking is not wealth thinking.
True.
We got to look at the long-term benefits of doing something to see, does that add to my wealth or deplete my wealth? And so get off the payment thing. I know we need to know what the payment is so we can afford it. And affordability, your mortgage approval is based on the payment. And that's why sometimes to get approved, you got to go to a 30-year just to get into the market.
And if you go back to segment B, which we just finished going through the example, the thinking that we did with the 5% down is the same philosophy around getting in with a 30-year amortization.
Absolutely. That's great. And, you know, there's an unknown. I don't know. Who is unknown? Unknown writes a lot of quotes.
He does.
She does. Okay. You don't build wealth by avoiding discomfort. You build it by managing it. And managing it meaning managing your discomfort, right? Yeah. So your first home isn't your dream home. It could be your wealth engine. Treat it accordingly. And we're glad that you've been joining us on Life's Inside Track, because when we move forward together, we've got this.
Moving forward with the Dekker team. Moving forward together with the Dekker team.